Hello and welcome to Dabbling in Journals. And I have this amazing new glass dip pen to share with you in my video today. You can get glass dip pens on places like Amazon, but I wasn't sure how good they would be. So I chose this one from Colt Pens. The brand of the pen is Herbin, and I know they make inks. In fact, they make my favourite ink, which I can't pronounce, Ambra de Bermenet or something like that. Similar colour to this pen. They do come in different colourways. They're quite affordable, and I want to share it with you because I'm really chuffed with it. Now, this purchase was actually inspired, as many a purchase has been, by Louise over at Coffee Tea Paper. Now, she has a dip pen which looks like this. I don't know if it is this one, but this one is by Kakimori, and it has this beautiful brass nib with a wooden holder. Looks absolutely gorgeous, but it is a splurge purchase. So it's on my wish list for Christmas next year. Already, oh my goodness, I am far too materialistic. I'm so ashamed of myself. But anyway, in the meantime, I have purchased this one, and the reason that I wanted one of these dip pens is for doing ink samples in my ink journal, because you don't need to keep changing your pen in order to change your ink, and I will explain that further in a moment. So prior to purchasing this new glass dip pen, I had this beautiful dip pen, which was a gift from my partner. It's got this lovely feather on it and lovely brass sort of, I don't know what you call that part. And it came with a little stand, and it looks absolutely beautiful on my desk, but I just couldn't get the hang of writing with it. And I did ask on my channel, and people gave me advice, and I tried all the different things to get the different nibs to work. Still couldn't get the hang of it. No clue whether it's user error, but I think this is perhaps just ornamental more than anything else. I'm hoping it's that and not user error. Anyway, I decided to purchase this one, and I'm getting on much better with this one. So let me just show you how it works. So I have here my ink journal, fountain pen journal, whatever you want to call it, and I've got my little book that I started in a previous video with an ink sample. Now, I was gifted this beautiful hand-carved stamp from my friend Louise over at Coffee Tea Paper. That was the first stamp I did, and I used Versamagic ink, and it came out a bit light and grey. So I decided to give this ink a go, and this is Ranger Archival Ink Permanent Waterproof ink in jet black, and as you can see, that's stamped much better with that ink. So I shall carry on using this one. And so I just want to see if we can try out this little dip pen. Now, I have here a pot of water because I want to be able to wash it in between inks so that I don't contaminate my inks, and I've got a little cloth to wipe the pen on. And I think that is the main advantage, as I said earlier, of a dip pen, is the fact that if I wanted to change the colour of the ink in here in order to test a new ink, I've got to clean out this pen, you know, take out the ink that's in there, wash out the pen, wait for it to dry. This is going to be much easier and simpler. So let's see how it works. So I have here an ink that I don't think I shared with you last time I was ink swatching. It's not new, I bought it some time ago, but it's Diamine Gingerbread colour. So let's have a look at that, and I'm going to use a little paintbrush just to do the swatch in my stamped ink bottle. And there you are, you can see the lovely gingerbread colour. And now let's see how it writes with this glass dip pen. So all I'm going to do is dip the pen in so that it's got ink on. And I'm going to write the name of the ink. Let's see if it works. So as you can see, it did work. I've still got loads of ink on here. So before I go on to the next colour, let's see how this ink works on different paper. That was Tomoe River paper. and I have other papers in here. I think I have a Clairefontaine. So let's have a look and see how much more writing I can do with this pen. I think I might have put a little bit too much ink on because it looked quite dark on the writing I just did. So let's see. Okay, so as you can see, I've written a page. This is just a pocket-sized notebook, but I wrote all of that with one dip of the pen I had already written in here. But you can see I obviously dipped it a little bit too much. I think I need to shake it off a bit because it's gone on there very thick, whereas it seems to be working really well here, unless of course it's the paper. Now what I'm going to do is change the colour and try again, and I've just thought of a really interesting use for this pen, which I shall share with you in a minute. Now I'm just cleaning it off with water by dipping it in the water and then drying it. It's as easy as that to then change colour of ink, which is fantastic. This little cup, by the way, was made by my niece when she was learning to do pottery some time ago. She's now a very accomplished potter. I'm going to put her Instagram, do they call it a handle? I don't know why they call it a handle, but her Instagram, yeah, handle on the screen and in the description, just in case any of you are interested in having a look at how she makes the products that she makes. She's got lots of little snippets on her Instagram showing her throwing the clay. I find it fascinating to watch, and she's very beautiful and I love her. So let's have a look back at this, and I am going to dry it because it's still a little bit wet. And what do you think of that colour? I think it looks really lovely. But look at my wibbly wobbly writing. I think it improved a little bit. I think I was nervous. I think my writing improved a little bit on this page, but it's still a little, my writing's not very good anyway. So let's try another colour. Oh, it's gone through just a little bit. That's because it was so thick, wasn't it? But it doesn't matter. So I think this is the thin Tomoe River paper. I think it's like 58 GSM or whatever the thin one is. So the ink I have now is again another Diamine ink, and this is in the colour Mistletoe. I must have bought these for Christmas. I can't remember. Must have, mustn't I? So let's see what this colour is. Ooh. Again, just cleaning my brush. It was Emily who gave me the tip of doing my swatches with a paintbrush rather than Q-tips, which you then throw away, which is a bit wasteful or bad for the environment. So, oh, I don't know why I put the lid back on. I'm going to try it now with my dip pen. Now I'm going to try and put a little less ink on this time, or at least maybe dip off the excess a bit. So can you see how the glass is holding, the grooves in the glass is holding onto the ink and it doesn't drip? It's fascinating. So this colour is, again, let's see if I can write less wibbly wobbly. And it still looks quite dark at the beginning, much darker than the swatch does. Let's see what it looks like when it's dried. And again, I'm going to try it on the Clairefontaine paper. But I suppose if it's really dark when you first start, you could just use a bit of scrap paper and scribble it off. So let's see how this looks on this paper. So this is Diamine. There, now I'm not going to fill the page again. I've still got plenty of ink left in my pen, but you can see that it just works really well. I'm fascinated. If anybody has more knowledge about these glass dip pens that they would like to share with me and that I will then share with my viewers, then do leave a comment below, or if you just want to express your view of it, whether or not you think it's interesting. Now, one of the things I was thinking to myself, and I said, oh, I'll tell you in a minute, was that this would be also really good for drawing. Say you're doing a watercolor drawing and you want to add some really fine detail. This has actually got a like really fine end, so I can imagine myself being able to do, for example, grass, maybe adding little bits onto them. But you're getting a really fine line. If you got some white opaque ink, you could do whiskers for animals, couldn't you? And in fact, you could draw anything. So here is a little watercolour painting that I did ages ago. This was my first ever attempt at a landscape painting, and as you can see, I've got lots to learn. But one of the difficulties I had, apart from the fact I made all this mud down here, I think mud is when you mix watercolour paint in a way you don't intend and you just get a like weird brown splodge. So apart from that problem, if you look where I've tried to do grass, it's like really thick. I couldn't get like a fine line with my paintbrush, and I'm just interested to see whether I could do it with my dip pen. I guess that doesn't mean it's a watercolour. It wouldn't be a watercolour painting anymore, would it? It'd be mixed media, but I don't care. So I'm going to dip my pen into the green ink. I wonder if it'll work. I can't wait to see. See what a fine line you get. So interesting. And now if I just want to change to different colour green, this one is a Sailor 370. I think it's a lighter colour. So I'm just going to dip that into that one and do some, oh, it still looks the same colour. Did I wash it? I can't remember. Oh wow. So you could add all kinds of little details onto your painting using this, and you'd get really fine lines. Look at that big load of splodge I did there. And now I'm going to go in with my gingerbread. Dip my pen in. Let's see what happens here. I don't think it's called mixed media. I think it's called ink and wash. A lot of people just use like a micron pen, but if you use this, you can have any colour that you want, which is interesting. I wonder what it would look like if I just outline the bottom. You just get a really sharp line, which you may or may not want, depending on what you're doing. Oh, this is fun. I bet you're all switched off now. I wobbled there because I laughed. You'll all be switching off thinking, what on earth is she doing? Ooh, I can't stop. And this is all just with one dip. I mean, you couldn't really take it on the go, could you? But if you wanted to, like, I'm going all wobbly because I'm talking. But if you wanted to add this kind of detail to a... Look what I did there. Oh, but I wonder if it would wash off. Let's have a look. Because the ink, yeah, look, if you just put a bit of water on where you've made a mistake, put a bit of water on and dab it. Doesn't show so much. Yay! I'm not sure about there. I think my wibbly wobbly lines. Let's give it a bit of colour in. Interesting. Oh, I'm definitely going to have some fun playing with this pen, not only for writing my ink samples into my little book, but also for having a go at doing some watercolour ink and wash drawings or paintings or whatever you call them. And I think that would be really good. I can also imagine, like, if I was doing something like, have I got any watercolours in my, let me just have a look in my sketchbook and see if I've got any watercolours in there that would benefit from a little bit of detail in some way. That's coloured pencil. That's watercolour. That's watercolour. Have I got anything that's not a plant? That's coloured pencil. Coloured pencil, it's mostly coloured pencil. I mean, doing something like that would have benefited. It would have been easier to do the thin stalks for that lavender, wouldn't it? That's a mess. That was ink and wash, but I used a Micron pen. I've got an eye there. Now that's actually in coloured pencil, but let's see what would happen if I added a little bit of black ink to that. Have I got any black? I have got some black. I put this in my pen, in my fountain pen, because it's a waterproof ink. Now, some people say that if you put waterproof ink into a fountain pen, it can clog it. But obviously with a dip pen, you're not going to have that problem. I am having a problem getting my book to stay down. Hold on. I know what you're all going to write in the comments. Ali, just take the book out. You'd think so, wouldn't you? But not me. I have no common sense. Well, I have it, but I don't use it. So here's my black ink. I just want to see what happens if I go over the top of the coloured pencil. Let me make sure it's not got any blobs. So say I was doing this eye. Oh, wow. Be really good for eyelashes as well, wouldn't it? Let's see. Oh. There we go. Now, does that improve that eye to have a little bit of ink on it? I don't know. I'm having so much fun playing. Just bear with me. Let me just try one more thing. No, I'm not. I'm going to stop that. I'm going to stop there. I'm being silly. I can have fun with my pen when I've switched off the camera so that I don't bore you anymore. So there we go. That is my new glass ink dip pen, which I've just realised that not only can I use it for the purpose for which I bought it, which is simply trying out different ink swatches when I oh, look at that glitter, when I purchase new inks, and I want to do ink swatches for the other inks that I have in here, so I'll do that later. But it looks like you can also use it as a drawing tool to add really fine detail to both watercolour, if that's your thing, or coloured pencil, if that's your thing. And if I had some white ink, that would be really good for the highlights. So I'm definitely going to have a look into buying some white drawing ink and see how that works. So I hope you enjoyed my strange, rambling, disorganized dip pen video, and I just want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.